Hi everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Sarna Rafiki and I'm 19 years old, and this is going to be the final history project focused on medieval England. And to be more specific, the format of this video is going to be a day in my life video. In this video, I am going to show you and explain the life of the lower class, aka the poor individuals during the medieval England. The reason why I'm going to explain this is because these topics can help you understand and get a gist of what their daily life might be like. I will be giving a short introduction about what we're going to see in this video, so let's go. First of all, I will talk about the women in medieval England and the jobs and responsibilities they are to face if they are marrying a peasant. Then I will talk about the peasants, male, and the serfs' jobs and responsibilities. Lastly, I will be talking about these people's personal hygiene, their diet, and the technologies that they were using during this time period. During the medieval period, a minority of the women would stay single, but most of them would marry at least once. If married to a peasant, the woman's life would look something like this. During the medieval period, the women were expected to sweep the house, set the table, milk the cows, suckle calves, strain milk, get the children up and dressed, cook meals, send corn and malt to the mill, make butter and cheese, feed pigs and chickens, tend the vegetables and herb gardens, prepare flax and hemp for linens, and wool for yarn, winnow grain, take excess supplies to market, and help her husband in the fields whenever she can. On the other hand, the peasants, who were considered the poorest people in the medieval era, used to work on the land by renting pieces of land from the lord or lady, or hiring themselves out to work on the land of others to yield food, fuel, and other resources. Unlike the serfs, free peasants enjoyed considerably more rights. They could leave the manor, find spouses from elsewhere, carry weapons, and send their children to school if they choose. But to some extent, they also lacked the security of serfs. In times of economic hardships, a manorial lord or lady could evict free peasants, raise rents, or refuse to employ them for wage labor, leaving the free peasant more vulnerable during favorable economic times. When labor was in demand, it was far preferable to be a free peasant. When times were bleak, however, serfs had the advantage since their rents were fixed and they could not easily be evicted. Serfs were basically peasants that were not free. They were not permitted to leave the land on which they were born. They were required to pay a variety of fees and dues to their manorial lords or ladies. They could not send their children to school, and they were not permitted to carry weapons. Nor were they allowed to marry anyone from another manor, since this would effectively mean that one partner or the other would have to leave their manor and would thus be lost to their lord or lady. Serfs were bound to the land, but they were not slaves. Instead, they were tenants on manors or large estates who were obliged both to grow their own food and to labor for them, as they were in fact owned by the landowners. In some manors, lords might demand up to 5 days of labor per week from a serf, who also owed the lord other such duties as a gift of his best livestock when he died. Serfs could not legally own land, and serfs were not allowed to leave the manor, marry, or go to school without the lord's permission. Next, I will talk about these individuals' personal hygiene. Hygiene lacked severely during the medieval times, so much that the people were often described as little more than brutish animals. Poor hygiene was usually due to the lack of water. However, it was common practice for just about everyone to wash their hands and face in the morning from a basin, as most people ate meals without knives, forks, or spoons. It was also a common convention to wash hands before and after eating. While washing hands, soap was sometimes used, and when it came to bathing, hair was washed using an alkaline solution such as the one obtained from mixing lime and salt. Peasants were believed to only bathe a total of 2 times throughout their entire lives, once when they were born and once before their death. Shaving was either not done at all or once a week, unless one was a monk, in which case one was shaved daily by a brother. As medieval mirrors were still not very large or clear, it was easier for most people to visit the local barber when required. Dental hygiene. Teeth were cleaned using twigs, especially hazel, and small pieces of wool cloth. The little personal hygiene of the medieval low class, especially peasants, caused them to deal with fleas and lice. Parasites were such a problem that comb makers began adding finer teeth so users could remove dirt and lice while combing their hair. People often used their fingertips to do the same job and would get together to delouse one another. As strange as it sounds, delousing groups formed a social activity for peasants. During the medieval period, the peasants only had a very few number of clothes. As the peasants' families were poor and did not have the luxury of buying clean clothes, they were to wash the clothes by hand at the local stream or ponds. Not only clothes, but the baby diapers were also to be washed on a regular basis. Though it might have been hard, it was also a little enjoyable, as the wash house were the site of women's gossip, and servicing as laundress was another opportunity for peasant women to earn extra money from neighbors or from the local nobility. Toileting in the medieval era, the poorer household often shared a single outside toilet or a number of toilets with their waste, leading to a communal cesspit. Lined with stones, the cesspit also received any other household rubbish and were regularly emptied by a professional laborer dedicated to that specific and an invaluable job. In villages, the peasantry used a cesspit for their own waste, which might then be taken and spread on the field as a fertilizer. Chamber pots were used at night and then emptied into the cesspit. Without the use of toilet papers, or really paper of any kind, people had to make do with a handful of hay, grass, straw, or moss. Now I will be talking about their diets and the technologies that were used by these individuals during the medieval period. Their diets consisted of mostly vegetables and old animals that could no longer be of use, such as old cows and sheep. And the technologies that were used during this time period were saws, hatchets, and axes, which were used to cut wood. Chisels and gouges were used for finer cutting and shaping. Augers, gimlet, and braces were all used to bore fine holes. Mullets were used to insert modern pegs into the holes, and hammers were used to drive iron nails. So, in conclusion, this is how the daily life of a peasant, a serf, and a woman during this time period who is married to a peasant would be. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.